I'd like to welcome Brit Morin. Brit is the founder and CEO of Brit & Co. Please welcome Brit Morin to the stage.
Thank you guys, and welcome to Remake 2013. This is our very first event, and we're so glad to have you. When I was a little girl, I loved to create. I spent my years growing up coloring with crayons and pastels. I was doodling even into my teenage years. And then I became obsessed with technology. I joined places like Apple and Google to work and spent years there loving my job, but working at it very, very hard. I actually didn't often ever take a break to do any creative work. When I was leaving my career at Google, I decided I wanted to figure out what my hobby was, because I had forgotten at that point. At the same time, there was a place called Tech Shop that was opening. Tech Shop is here in San Francisco, down in Soma, and it's basically like a gym for making things. You pay about $100 a month, and for that fee, you can come in anytime you want, and you have access to all of their machines. They have everything from sewing machines to 3D printers and laser cutters and screen printers, vinyl cutters. They had it all. I was there every single day just making, and I had a blast. And there's something that started to catch my eye. The people around me actually looked a lot like me. They were similar in age, a lot of them in their 20s and 30s. A lot of them were escaping a full-time job or doing this on the side. And they were just excited to get their hands dirty again. Around that same time, the site you might know called Pinterest had just launched and was starting to gain a lot of popularity. What was cool about Pinterest was this was the first time I really felt a movement of people getting inspired to make and create, especially people who told me when I showed them the things I was creating, I wish I were creative. I started to hear that phrase more and more. I wish I were creative. I wish I could do that. And I was a little bit confused. Aren't we all creative? When you were a little kid and someone put Legos in front of you, didn't you start building? Didn't you start playing? Did you have blocks and crayons? And did you tell stories? I'm willing to bet that you did. So what happened? As you got older, how did this box of insecurity build around you? Why are you afraid to show people that you're creative? I think we're all artists. We all have creativity within us, and we should know that. I'm not very creative doesn't work. There's no such thing as creative people and non-creative people. There are only people who use their creativity and those who don't. I love this quote from Brené Brown. She's a famous author, TED speaker, and psychologist, and she has done a lot of work on creativity. I think we could all take a little bit of Brené Brown into our lives. So if we're all artists, and we are all creative people, why can't every moment be a canvas? If you think about your day-to-day life, think of how many decisions you're making throughout the day and how much more creative those decisions could be. You wake up in the morning. What are you going to wear? What are you going to make for breakfast? How are you going to do your hair or your makeup? There are so many decisions you can make that could be a little bit more creative. One of our guests today, Jordan Fernie, is a great example of this. She likes to reimagine her food as art. I love this that she's done on her blog, Oh Happy Day. Turns out it's not just me that thinks that this is a movement. This is a Google Trends search of the phrase how to over the last few years. That's pretty cool, but check out this one, 3D printing. We're going to talk a lot about that during this conference, and I'll talk about it more today in this talk, but this is something that's dramatically changing the way that we make. I love this one too, maker movement. It's the movement that everyone's talking about. You'll hear a lot about it today. It didn't even exist before about 2008. That's just crazy. I love this too, and how it's impacting our generation. If I had the right resources, I could probably create products that are better than the ones I find in stores. This is what 74% of people said when this research report was done. So why is this all happening now? I think there are 3 reasons. I think it's because of culture. I think it's because of human nature, and I think it's because of technology. On the culture side, if you think about it, we're all millennials or Gen X, Gen Y, and we all have this fascination with making. I think that's really interesting because this is actually the first generation that was brought up largely with two working parents. I'm one of them. My mom and dad were working. They didn't love me any less because of that, but I often had to fend for myself. I ate frozen dinners a lot. I ate fast food a lot. I never really learned how to sew or to do all those things when I was a little girl. Home ec and shop class weren't really even offered to me. If they were, it was an elective. And now this is the generation that's grown up and are buying houses and are starting families and don't know how to do these things. They don't have the knowledge. Chef Jamie Oliver quotes that the obesity health crisis has nothing to do with class or money, but knowledge of how to cook for oneself. Think about that. It's pretty interesting. The second thing I think is contributing to the cultural part of this is that there's kind of this rejection against big box retailers. There's people that really just want to try to shop small, shop local. They want to shop among their community in their small towns. They want to buy from local farmers. Farmers markets are on the rise. It's not necessarily, it's kind of a bad thing for big box retailers, but if you think about it, when I was a teenager, everyone I know was wearing Abercrombie and Fitch, and that's just not the way that things are today. Finally, there's the digital detox. This isn't saying that people are necessarily leaving their tech jobs like I did to go work and to only build in the analog world, but an hour a week or so, people really want an outlet to get creative. The second reason I think this whole maker movement is happening is due to human nature. We're human, and we are appreciative of things that are made, and we're made to make. I love letterpress and the traditional arts like that are completely analog, even though there are a lot of digital things happening in the maker movement as well. I also love the fact that there's an appreciation of the things that you make for someone and you can give to them. I used to buy my mom jewelry every Mother's Day and every birthday, and one day I gave her a handmade necklace. Every single time I've seen her since then, she's wearing that necklace. There's such an appreciation for things that are handmade. And of course, technology is playing a huge factor into the maker movement. There are a few reasons why I think technology is contributing so much. It has to do with sharing, learning, apps, and gadgets. As far as sharing goes, there are all kinds of new platforms that have developed over the last few years that are enabling us to build communities online to share knowledge and ideas. POLYVORE is one of the platforms that I love, and Jess Lee, the founder, is going to be here later today. A few weeks ago, I asked POLYVORE users to help style me an outfit for something I'm doing in the future. Got thousands and thousands of people who created an outfit for me, and they were collaborating together. Some were submitting multiple, and they were using all of the different articles of clothing found around the web. I also used POLYVORE to design what I was going to wear today, which is actually a compilation of pieces of clothing from some of our speakers today. I rented the dress from Rent the Runway. This is a 3D printed belt from Bow and Drape. I have my ModCloth necklace on, turn it the right way. And I've got jewelry from Zadie as well, which is a new fashion startup dedicated to things that are handmade. The other one, of course, and go back to this, is Pinterest. Pinterest has totally inspired the way that we're creating and collaborating together. I don't have to tell you guys this. I saw someone tweet that they walked into a Pinterest board today. But Pinterest is allowing us to exchange ideas so fluidly, so quickly, and so consistently. And then there's the open source movement, people that are actually giving away their designs for free, or even just selling them, sharing knowledge across the web. This is the rocket ship espresso cup that was designed on Shapeways, which is a platform where you can create 3D designs. This one actually got shared all over Shapeways. It started going viral and ended up getting picked up by a retailer to be sold in stores. Second, there's learning. Now, learning has so much to do with the way we're learning to make. The thing I love about learning is that you can actually learn through videos on places like Skillshare, Creative Live, Coursera, and Udemy. And the videos enable you to learn at your own pace. You can stop if you're overwhelmed, rewind and go back, fast forward if you already know that technique. You get to do it the way you want. This is one of my favorite classes, by the way, on Skillshare. It's by Dan Holtzman, who's the founder of a place called the Meatball Shop in New York, and it's entitled Show Me Your Balls. So if you guys want to check that one out, it's for free, and it's up on Skillshare. There's also DIY.org. We've got the DIY guys here today as well on the kids panel. And what I love about them is they're actually recreating the concept of Boy Scouts online and helping to teach kids how to make and create, giving them incentives to earn these virtual badges. Of course, it goes without saying that there are a ton of new apps that help you create and make, from photo sharing apps that let you design on top of your photos to things like AUTODESK HOMESTYLER, which let you use 3D design to actually design a room and configure a space. I'm excited about our Home and Tech panel later today. We're going to talk a lot about that kind of stuff. And then, of course, there are gadgets. So Little Bits Electronics Kits is just one example. But the Guitar is this interconnected guitar you can plug your iPhone into, and it actually lets you learn how to play the guitar through an app on your phone. Then you can record the songs you're playing back into your phone and share them with your community. That's pretty exciting. But the one I'm most excited about, of course, is 3D printing. You might have seen the MakerBot up front. We're going to talk a lot about 3D printing today. 3D printing is absolutely revolutionizing the way we make. This is a market that's going to be a $6 billion market by 2017, even though today there have been less than 100,000 3D printers sold. They're still unaffordable for the mainstream consumers. Most of them are over $1,000. But these things are going to cost only a couple $100s over the next 2 years. This means that people in their homes will be able to have these machines. And if you aren't familiar with the 3D printer, what these do is they print like a regular printer, left to right, but they also go up and down. And instead of ink, they're actually printing plastic. In this case, with my belt, this is printing metal. You can print metal, ceramic, plastic, all kinds of materials. In fact, some people are even printing cookie dough in their 3D printers and using it to design these amazing and intricately designed cookies. So, given all of this, what does this mean for the future? Well, first and foremost, all of these technologies are turning us all into self-manufacturers. We're going to be able to have 3D printers and all kinds of devices in our homes over the next few years that are actually affordable and might actually end up saving us money over time because we're able to manufacture our own products. Imagine if your child has a toy that breaks, you could print them a new one in about 20 minutes. If your spatula breaks while you're cooking, just go print a new one. No big deal. You can even use some of these devices to start growing and making your own food at home, no longer requiring a trip to that grocery store. This is the Dodo case. And if you guys don't know the Dodo case, it's a clever-looking iPad case that's designed to look as a book. The guys are going to be selling them tomorrow if you want to check it out. Patrick Buckley, the founder of Dodo Case, decided to make this case a few months before the iPad came out. He joined Tech Shop, and he started playing around with the ShopBot and some of the other gadgets in Tech Shop, and it took him maybe a few $1,000s to develop a prototype. He ended up selling $1 million worth of Dodo cases in 3 months. If you compare this to someone like James Dyson, the inventor of the vacuum cleaner, who took 5,127 prototypes to get to the right vacuum and hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can see why this is a good thing for society and for makers. There's also customization. So if we're all manufacturers in our own homes, that means we no longer have to do units of production that are 10,000 or 20,000 at one time. We can make 10 or 20. What this means is we can customize everything in all types of shapes and sizes, colors and patterns, anything that we want. We can do that on the fly. I love this. The Boston Consulting Group predicts that 10 to 30% of the goods that America now imports for China will be made at home by the year 2020, resulting in a $55 billion market. First of all, that's amazing for America. Second, that's amazing for you guys. That's a big market that you can take advantage of. I'm so excited for the future. So, why are you guys all here today? Some of you are hobbyists who might make on the side, might be a part-time job. You might just do it for fun. Some of you are entrepreneurs who are doing this for a living. Some of you are big brands and retailers who might see all of this maker movement thing as a threat. I encourage you to think about it as an opportunity. With all of these new makers in the world over the next few years, you're going to be able to tap into a fresh pool of designers and producers who can help you develop new products. This conference is called Remake because it's about reinventing the way we make. And this is about all of us. It's our responsibility as the leaders of this movement to inspire, teach, and share the rest of the world what making and the maker movement is really about. People today will share all kinds of perspectives with you on the maker movement. They will probably actually even be different than mine. I think that's okay. I encourage you to decide what you think of this whole thing we're calling the maker movement. We've got people today like Chris Anderson, who's going to speak about 3D printing and drones and self-manufacturing. Jessie Gannett, who's so inspiring to me. She's the founder of Lumi, and she started to have a vision for her company when she was 17 years old. We also have people like Michelle Phan, who's a YouTube vlogger, now has created a makeup line and is one of the heralded queens of beauty on the internet. You might think, what does she have to do with the maker movement? I think there's a reason why she's here, and you're going to find out. You also notice there are Legos in front of you today. Why? Well, first, I can't invite 300 people to a creative conference and expect them to stare at a screen all day. So please open your Legos, play with them, build with them throughout the conference. And if you have something that you've made that you would like to show off, we're going to be putting all of your creations on display for tomorrow's festival. It's our responsibility to build a community of collaborative problem solvers. The more makers we have in this world, the more innovation there will be. I'm so glad you came today. We are all artists. Show the world your canvas and help them paint one too. Thank you.